of America's Most Wanted. No, I'm not talking about Tupac and Snoop Dogg. I'm talking about Gennady Golovkin and Anthony Joshua, who both over the past few weeks have been vilified by plenty of boxing fans. As far as Anthony Joshua, I'm gonna try to do a video with my man Duke Odin 7458. Make sure you check him out. Do a video, see if I can do one with him to talk about the AJ and Wilder situation. It might wind up with us being on the same side, or it could be a debate. Not sure. I want to see if I can get with him like in the next day or so. Let me start with Gennady Golovkin. America's Most Wanted #1. Golovkin is fighting a guy who he's been off for 2 years, but it is no different than what we saw last Saturday with so it was okay for Gervonta Davis to take on a guy who's been off almost 2 years. Not Golovkin, though. Here's the difference. Golovkin's opponent dropped out, and we had to get a last-minute replacement. Daniel Jacobs already said he wasn't going to drop out of his fight. We already know from history that Demetrius Andrade would have priced himself out of the fight. We know this. Besides, Golovkin trained for months to face Saul Alvarez, a guy who is an orthodox fighter, who's flat-footed and will box and can slide a little bit. Whereas Andrade is a southpaw and he's slick and he can move. We, meaning you, the boxing community, accepted a 49-0 guy fighting a guy with 0 boxing experience. But Golovkin's ducking people on short notice, I might add. We justify Jesus Cuellar as a legitimate challenger for a vacant title. But Golovkin is ducking people on like a few weeks' notice. We look at Hugo Centeno Jr. and a one-legged Jorge Sebastian Hyland as proof that Jermall Charlo is the man to beat at heavyweight. But Golovkin is ducking people on a couple weeks' notice. We got Sergey Derevyanchenko pushing for his title shot. And let's get real. Who is he beat? Who is he beaten? And how many boxing fans knew who he was a week ago? How many boxing fans know who he is today at the time of this video? But Golovkin is ducking people. So why is Gennady the bad guy here? blame Canelo. The truth is, Jacobs wasn't going to take it. He admitted it. Saunders wasn't going to take it. He's injured. Gary O'Sullivan, by order of Oscar De La Hoya, bailed out on the fight. You know, it makes me wonder what guys like Gary O'Sullivan are in the business for. I thought it was to get at least one shot at glory. You know, that one shot at big money. And O'Sullivan got his opportunity by default because of the Alvarez thing. But the point is, he got his shot. Then he inexplicably turned it down. Or did he? Hear me out. Gary O'Sullivan just so happens to be a Golden Boy fighter. Golden Boy just so happens to have a fight card the day before Golovkin fights. The Golden Boy and Golovkin cards just so happen to be at the same venue on back-to-back nights. O'Sullivan all of a sudden just happens to now be fighting on the Golden Boy card one day in advance of the Golovkin fight card. Again, I ask, what are you in the fight game for if you don't jump on the opportunity to become a 4-belt holder in one night? One shot. This is what people live for. O'Sullivan might never get an opportunity as big as he had with a Golovkin fight. He would have been the main event on Cinco de Mayo. The main event on Cinco de Mayo. Oh, and one more thing. O'Sullivan just so happens to not be the main event on the Golden Boy card the day before. Let me squeeze something real quick in about Saul Alvarez. No year-long suspension, no fine at all, which is unheard of. No year-round VADA testing, which means he still gets to do what he's done before. Cycle on and cycle off the drugs before camp starts. That's how the drug cheats do it. But Golovkin's the bad guy, huh? And I'll make a video because I know some news broke about a hair sample. Let me tell you something. I'll make a video and I'll give you I'll give you 5 factors on why you should not buy that hair test thing. Trust me. One of them is backed by a doctor, and I'm going to talk to him tomorrow and ask him if I can say his name or give people his email address or his number. That'll dispute anything, any trying to hustle, any kind of hustle. Listen, you're going to have people that jump off the bandwagon now and say, see, we told you, the guy's clean. But I'm telling you, and you'll have people in the profession, the medical profession. And I have a guy in the medical profession too. So it boils down to what you believe or who you believe. I'll tell you this though. Once again, go back a few years earlier and look at Saul Alvarez. I can't call this guy a nickname, so I'm not going to call him the Cinnamon nickname or the Canelo nickname. And just use the one thing that they can't dispute, the eye test. Look at his physique change, look at his neck, and how thick it's gotten. Look at the explosiveness. And then look at the lack of all of those things. The physique, the explosiveness, the neck. Only a few years ago, trust me, the eyes don't lie. And I'll give you the hair thing. Like I said, I'll give you about 5 reasons, and if I can think of some more, that will let you know why you shouldn't buy that excuse. But like I said, there'll be a bunch of people apologizing. Oh, and then the Nevada Athletic Commission they'll chime in and say, well, our rule still says accidentally or purposely taking such and such, or having such and such show up in your system. So anyway, we'll cover that. So I'll do maybe about 3 videos in the next few days, and it's up to you. You can believe what you want, but so let's move on to, let's talk about Deontay Wilder. What a fucking dummy. Sorry to my sister who might be listening. She doesn't like when I curse. Sorry, sis. It's a shame because Deontay halfway gets it. The problem is, it's the other halfway where he doesn't get it. And it's a bigger halfway than the first halfway. I will give him this. Deontay Wilder has pretty much taken it on. He's promoted himself. He's self-promoted. Everything that's happened, it's because of him. Whether it's Twitter, making these videos, his post-fight and pre-fight press conferences and interviews. I mean, they've really, he hasn't been promoted right. And it's a shame because he'd probably have a lot more money and be much more well known. But if his dumb ass could understand the other half of what the part that he doesn't get. Look, Lou DiBella, the guy is, Lou DiBella is no longer a promoter. He's a puppet. You just got to call it the way it is. Shelly Finkel, while he knows the fight game and a little bit of the money game, it's time for, well, Wilder's, he's already, 32 now, maybe, I think. So it's kind of late, but the heavyweights are different. They can survive longer if they don't take a lot of punishment, and he hasn't. He's been delivering the punishment. So as late as it may be to cut some guys loose, he still could, and he could kind of have a new beginning. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen, and oh well. The guy be rich if he did it, though. Those guys who back him they're in the business right now for reasons other than the bit or the little bit of good they used to do, and that's a shame. Listen, they better end up with a deal by this weekend, or Deontay will end up wishing he signed that original contract. First is getting Wilder to ink his name on a 2-fight deal. even with a loss, the least Wilder would have made appears to be $25 million. The least. Clock is ticking, and to be honest, 12.5 million is the highest an Alvin Heyman client, except for Mayweather Jr., earned for one fight. 12.5 million. There's a Russian billionaire named Andrei Ryabinsky, and he's been tied to Alexander Povetkin in the past. If Team Wilder keeps playing around, then AJ's not going to have a choice to make the Povetkin fight. If they try to make the Povetkin fight and the numbers don't add up for whatever reason, like according to Team Povetkin, they'll go to purse bid. If it goes to purse bid, AJ better pack his bags for Russia, because that billionaire will outbid Eddie Hearn by a mile. So you say, how do you know this? Well, for Klitschko versus Povetkin, Sauerland Promotions submitted a bid of $14,444 and lost. K2 submitted a bid of $7,130,000 and lost. Ryabinsky, the billionaire, submitted the winning bid of $23,333,330. In that fight, Vladimir received $17,499,997. And Povetkin earned $5,833,333. So it'll be interesting if it went to purse bid, because it's a guessing game after that. Eddie Hearn would have to strategically come up with a number to beat the billionaire, and vice versa. Now the fighters win in both instances because it's going to be a high bid. But to be honest, not many people want to see AJ go to Russia to defend his title against Povetkin. Wilder better be careful. He's going to mess around and blow his career. And while it's really his fault, it's really his team. I mean, because they're not doing their job for him. Why people call AJ the bad guy, why people think AJ is ducking him, is beyond me. The negotiation is going to be a 2-fight deal. The least Deontay is going to make in the 2 fights is $25 million. You know, it's funny. Anthony Joshua is Lennox Lewis in almost every way. I mean, he's a big heavyweight. He's a UK guy. Doesn't have the world's best chin. He's unified, and he's the man right now. But he's like Lennox Lewis also in that, because he's so calm and laid back when he says things or answers questions, most fans think he's scared. I remember Lennox Lewis used to do that and then go knock people's heads off. So when Deontay Wilder is loud, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, coming off a knockout of a guy who calls himself King Kong, people sit back and they wait for a response. Then when AJ wins, it's like he just calmly answers questions, and then the guy asking him questions after the fight, and the fans, they try to get him to get loud, and that's not his personality. And when he tries it, it sounds fake. But just like Lennox Lewis, when he speaks, you kind of have to listen closely. You have to listen to the subtleties or the delicacies of what he says. Team Wilder said that 60-40 is fair. It's not. Wilder is being offered 6 times his highest purse. Okay, so his highest purse was $2 million. You multiply that by 6, and that's where you get your 12.5. They believe it's a $100 million fight. Eddie Hearn says it's not. He says it's more like a $40 or $50 million fight in profit, which puts Wilder at like 32% if it's a $40 million fight. But AJ claimed, or I should say AJ chimed in, and he said, I tell you what, Team Wilder, if this is a $100 million fight, then I won't give you 40%. I'll give you 50%. You give me $50 million, and you take $50 million, and I'll sign the contract today. So it put Team Wilder in a hole. It put him in a hole of sorts. But it won't happen because nobody from Team Wilder has that kind of money to put up. Eddie Hearn is putting up the money. So the $12.5 million is a more than fair offer. Joshua's going to be all right. He's getting circa $20 million each time out. But if these guys don't make the 2-fight deal, or even 1 fight, and one of these guys gets knocked out, I'll feel bad for Wilder. Joshua's going to be fine money-wise. He's going to be all right. Wilder, on the other hand, boy. So making AJ the bad guy in this isn't the way to go. Team Wilder, according to Shelly Finkel, was going to submit their counteroffer a couple of days after Hearn's offer. And then we went day after day after day and we didn't hear anything. They've waited. And I'm telling you, if it doesn't get done this weekend, it's going to be too late. That's not AJ's fault. So don't blame him. Don't make him the bad guy. The WBA will strip him if he doesn't make the Povetkin fight. Because of Team Wilder, they, meaning Team AJ, won't have much time to make the Povetkin fight. So it's like, don't waste my time, let's do this. If not, there's a problem. AJ will be fine. He can fight Povetkin, then Tyson Fury, then whoever else, and make around $20 million, or a lot more depending on who the opponent is. Wilder's options, I'm not sure about, but I know one thing: he won't be touching 12.5 M's when he does it. So we'll see. Now, of course, what's come up now recently is $50 million offer. And I can't believe some of the people on Facebook, doing YouTube videos, on Twitter, doing Instagram stuff. I mean, I can't believe people are falling for this. I'm going to see if I can get what, and I'll tell you what this is possibly tomorrow. I'm going to try to get with my man Duke Oden, 7458 tomorrow, and we might chop it up for 30 minutes to an hour if his time is good, and discuss this. I'm not sure what side he's on. I think I know what side he's on, but like I said, this will either be a nice discussion or it'll be a debate. Either way, I'm gonna see if I can catch him tomorrow. We'll do a YouTube. I think they call them collaborations, and that's what it is, a collaboration of sorts, even if it turns into a debate. But two of America's most wanted, the bad guys, Gennady Golovkin, Anthony Joshua. The boxing world has seemed to turn on two of the nicest guys in boxing. Go figure. So we'll see. So look out for, hopefully we can do a discussion on AJ and Wilder tomorrow. Now don't be shocked if AJ comes to Brooklyn, and because another option is fighting, filing an exception with the WBA, or filing for an exception, I should say, to fight Jarrell Miller in New York, and then possibly filing another exception to fight Wilder after that. Or if it's rejected, you either decide you're going to get stripped, or you jump right to the Povetkin. And then of course the IBF and whoever else will, WBO or what have you, will chime in and say, listen, you need to honor our mandatory now, just like you did such and such. So we'll see. So I'm gonna try to get up with this, check with this doctor tomorrow, because I really want to give his name in case anybody needs a detailed explanation, or if not, if he wants to come on and we can talk about it and do a YouTube video, that would be nice too. If not, so I'll do a Canelo video and tell you why you shouldn't believe the hype with the hair sample. And I'll give you about 5 reasons for that. And then look for the hopefully we can do this thing with Duke Oden, and then also get into another prediction video for the Golovkin fight, for the Lomachenko fight, and maybe this Golden Boy card, and what else is coming up? Oh, the Top Rank card. Oh yeah, and the Daniel Jacobs card. So I don't know. Might take a trip to Philly to see what's up with the fight in Philly, the fight card. That's the one with Jesse Hart's on it, Shakur Stevenson, Jesse Magdaleno, main event against Dogbo, and Brian Jennings, Joey DeVaco. That should be entertaining. So Saturday we got the Top Rank card on ESPN with those names that I just mentioned, and then Selesky, Danny Jacobs, Selesky, and then Johan Duhaupas and Jarrell Miller on the HBO. And that's HBO from Barclays. Alright. Saturday night. Usually HBO is Madison Square Garden, and your Premier Boxing and what have you is Showtime. But we got a couple of Heyman guys, Jacobs and Miller, who have fought on Showtime before, crossing over and fighting on HBO. And so you're going to see Jim Lampley, Roy Jones Jr., Max Kellerman come to you live from Barclays instead of Madison Square Garden. It just seems weird, but this is good. This is good for boxing. And then you see, because of the money situation with the Premier, you see Alvin Heyman doing business with Oscar De La Hoya now, and Bob Arum. And while he's done business with Arum a few times, I'm a hold out on the doing business with Golden Boy thing, because Gary Russell Jr. seems to be the exception to the rule. If Alvin Heyman decides to do business with Golden Boy with other big names in future fights, then I'll say, all right, we finally crossed the threshold. He's staying in his lane as an advisor or a manager, and then going ahead and letting these guys actually sign on with promoters like Eddie Hearn and so on and so forth. So we'll see. We'll see. Time will tell. That's it. Catch you on the next one.